And joining me now is Defense One technology editor Patrick Tucker. Good to see you, Patrick. So USAID provides billions of dollars in humanitarian assistance to countries around the world. But you write, shutting down this agency will hurt U.S. interests and be a gift to China and Russia. And here's former USAID Administrator Samantha Power on how the attacks are being cheered by Moscow and Beijing. Take a listen to what she said.
They see the value of gaining this political capital and winning hearts and minds in this way. What we have seen is, prior to President Trump taking over, is attacks, sustained attacks by the PRC on USAID's reputation to try to denigrate the agency in the eyes of the publics in the countries in which USAID works. And since the dismantling of USAID began a couple weeks ago, we have seen the PRC relish the strategic opening that this offers them.
So can you explain how shutting down the foreign aid agency then plays into China and Russia's hands?
Sure. Well, where do you want to start? Anywhere around the world. If we take a little bit of a brief tour in Ukraine, USAID provides not only critical medical aid, which does get its way to frontline soldiers because all of Ukraine is a battlefield. USAID support was instrumental in helping them stand up a power structure to keep the lights on. Energy resilience. It also allowed them to rebuild a digital economy, really important for their continued economic growth, to keep the government basically run and funding and funding frontline workers. Let's go to Moldova. In Moldova, documented Russian interference efforts targeting election. USAID was there providing cybersecurity and critical attribution of Russian election interference methods. Let's go to Africa, where the U.S. operates continuously against ISIS targets and other terrorism threats. There, the U.S. was operating out of a base in Niger until last year. Why? The Nigerian new government that took over in a coup kicked them out. What supported that? Russian disinformation efforts. USAID supports independent journalism all across these places to highlight some of those interference efforts. Let's go to Latin and South America, where, again, the People's Republic of China is attempting to curry influence, corrupt public institutions, corrupt public officials in order to decimate U.S. influence in the region. USAID supports independent journalism and fact-finding that reveals those efforts to the people of those countries. So there's really not a part of the globe that you can look at and pick where USAID isn't having an effect that is direct to national security, and that is what Chinese and Russian Kremlin and PRC media outlets are today so excited about.
So, and you haven't even touched all the topics. Let me go to malaria and tuberculosis outbreaks, medicines for 500,000 children living with HIV, a bird flu outbreak happening right now in at least 49 countries. These are just some of the global health emergencies USAID works to combat. What are the real-world consequences of shuttering this agency, Patrick?
Well, yes, just in terms of medical health, the short-term effects, interruption of important medical services, AIDS relief in all sorts of places, halted disease prevention initiatives, halted food security challenges, initiatives to deal with food security challenges, long-term effects, potential resurgence of infectious diseases in places where we had thought that we had turned the table on those, and those will eventually affect the United States population one way or another, because we are in a globalized world right now. People travel very freely, and so there's not an infectious disease outbreak that's not going to have an effect on the American population. There's also the long-term effect of the deterioration of health infrastructure, hospitals, disease monitoring all over the world. USAID plays a critical role in that. So there's some short-term terrible effects, and there's some long-term terrible health effects.
So you have Secretary of State Marco Rubio who said the U.S. is going to continue to provide foreign aid, but only if it aligns with our national interest. What are some examples of that? Let's leave healthcare aside. We all learned during the COVID pandemic that it's not like, oh, it stops at a state line or some international border.
Right. Yes, Secretary Rubio was not particularly specific about exactly which of USAID's funding or programs is not in U.S. national interests, but he also said that different program managers can apply for waivers, emergency waivers, to have their funding restored. As you pointed out, and as others have pointed out, that decimated staff 10,000 down to about 611 operationally. I've talked to some of them, and they don't have the means or the capacity to write all of the waivers that need to be written, and there's not a clear process for doing that. So it's unclear at this point how that would happen. But really importantly, if you look back to what Senator Rubio said about USAID, if you look back to what Senator Lindsey Graham and other U.S. lawmakers were saying about USAID just before this, and what senior military commanders have said about it, you will find universal support, gratitude, and appreciation for their work. So it's a sudden and dramatic reversal of tone instigated by political events and, I guess, certain people's vendettas.
Let me just remind folks that both Melania Trump and Ivanka Trump worked with USAID.